Hey there, everyone. Today, Bianca Spears and I are talking about going beyond the basics of brain retraining. So, this is really to go off of our conversation we had last week on Instagram at My Vital Side. We had a live and we just talked about our experiences with brain retraining. So, this is going to be a 3-part series we'll be posting every Monday, and we'll just be talking on one topic specifically that goes beyond brain retraining. So I'm excited to dive into this with you today, Bianca. I know a topic that has been really important for you is really the process of what happens when we kind of face perfectionism, within our retraining practice. And when we, start retraining, whether we're a couple months in, or we just started, or we've been retraining for, years, I think that perfectionistic tendency of my practice has to look a certain way really comes into play. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience and, any recommendations you have when it comes to that perfectionism.
Yeah, it's funny because perfectionism definitely creeps in when I'm like obsessively making some kind of image on Canva. But in my brain retraining practice, it doesn't, I don't feel that it played a huge role. I'm definitely someone who loves to explore, and coming from a coaching background and also having been connected with you and started to talk about brain retraining and personalization and all the things that we love to chat about. When I started brain retraining, I felt a bit more free and flexible to try things. So while I didn't feel that perfectionism crept in, I feel that sometimes for people like me who want to jump to step 3 because step 1 and 2, well, they maybe not as fun as they could be. There can be a level of self-judgment that comes in for not sticking to the program and not just doing it the way it's supposed to be done. So there can be a lot of, self-judgment, self-beat up, guilt, or kind of questioning yourself as well. Like, well, okay, Lindsay created Vital Side. She's trained in medicine. She's healed herself. Do I really know better than her? Should I be really messing with this or like playing with the system? Not that I played with it too much. And as I say, we'd had background conversations about how to tweak and how to change things. So I felt quite confident in doing that. But I can appreciate for someone who doesn't come into this with any knowledge of the unconscious mind, of transformation, of psychology, of any of these things, there can be that tendency, and I've seen it in clients where they just have to do it that way because what if they do it wrong? Then they're going to be wasting their time and maybe it's not going to work. So I've seen, with different brain retrainers, how they feel they have to do it that way, which then leads sometimes to something else, which we wanted to talk about today, is like this seeking, like, well, this program doesn't really suit me and I'm not really feeling it. So maybe I should look at doing a different program. And it's quite common from what I've seen for people to kind of then jump to something else when they're like, I don't know, like it's good. I've had some results. It's okay. But maybe it's not for me, where I think we could actually just tweak the program. Well, I don't think, I know we can tweak the program to suit that person, and they can tweak it to suit themselves, to their learning style, where they're at in their healing journey, etc., etc., etc. And that can just reinvigorate the practice that they already have and make it so much more motivating, so much more enjoyable, so much more fun, and then actually see different results in their healing and shifts with their its as well, where they don't need to jump ship, so to speak. And I know you, when you brain retrained, and this is something I've wanted to ask you about for so long, I keep being like, I want to know about this. Let's do a video about this. So you did 2 different programs, which are sort of on the same tier, right? They're sort of that this is how neuroplasticity works and this is how we can use it to heal type level. So I'd love to hear about your experience of what got you to change programs or to seek something else. And what was your experience with that?
Well, yeah. And first, I just want to quickly mention, like, you just brought up a good point of like, it doesn't, you may not resonate with perfectionism, but you may resonate with seeking. There's like a lot of beliefs that are intertwined within our own brain retraining practice. And I think just like bringing some awareness to that is really important, knowing that it's okay. It's likely based on a whole slew of belief systems that have been formed for one reason or another throughout your life. But it doesn't necessarily apply to your brain retraining practice, because there's no such thing as a perfect practice, a perfect program, like nothing perfect in that way. So I think the idea is we bring in the things that make this program work for us and grow with us and evolve with us. And so I think that's such a key element to brain retraining, is knowing that there's no right way for it to look, and understanding that I can make it my own, right? I can bring in that personalization piece. And oftentimes it's those little tweaks that make such a difference. So that brings me to like my experience with seeking. And I'm very much a 0 to 100 person. So I'm either going to not do something or like 100% full on commit, all chips in, like, let's do this. And that's how I felt about brain retraining. I felt that it really resonated with me, the concepts. So I started to do a program, and then I started to do another program, and then I started to do a bunch of research. And it was just this like ongoing process of seeking. And that was fine for the time. I did gain so much knowledge and information about brain retraining. But looking back, I think, well, how could things have been more effective? And I think what happened was I was on content overload, and I really overloaded my brain with brain retraining to really help it make sense to me. But looking back again, I think what really mattered was, how do I make this resonate with me and my learning style? I'm a hands-on person. I want to learn by doing. I want to have a practice that evolves with me, that I don't have to necessarily make fit into my life. I want a practice where this isn't just a once a day kind of practice. It's more of a lifestyle change, thinking of my life, my brain retraining practice as intentional brain retraining throughout my day, right? So these types of things, like questions that kept coming up for me. So I don't think it was the most effective use of my time to do all the different programs that I did. And I think what would have been extremely helpful was more of an understanding of, now with this information, how can I connect with my purpose? Now with this information, how can I fit this more into my lifestyle and what I like and what kind of learning style I have, and how I stick with information and the type of 100% commitment I want to make. And I think that information is gold. Like, that's the most valuable thing that you can start to understand and start to apply to your retraining practice.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. And it's something that you kind of made me aware of when we first met. And I was like, I'm not a brain retrainer. And you're like, but you are, because you're training your mind all the time. We all are. And yes, as someone who's growth focused, I can also be in that seeker mode where I'm like, oh, but I can grow more and I can learn more, and maybe I'll get more from a different program. So I can definitely slip into that too. But I think that's what this series is about, right? That brain retraining is not just healing and then it's done. Like, it is that lifestyle, and it is constantly creating change. And maybe it doesn't look the same down the track. Maybe you're not doing your official rounds of practice, but you're constantly growing and evolving and getting fresh inspiration
right,
through taking that practice with you, like you said, to suit the lifestyle, because we're not the same as we were when we started brain retraining, even if that was 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
Yeah,
I love that point. I think we're always evolving, right? And it's okay that my practice 2 weeks ago or 1 year ago, it just won't look the same, right? It's like easy. Like, you know, sometimes you try on a pair of jeans and they just don't fit, right? And maybe it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Maybe it's a good thing, right? Maybe it's this just thing that happens because we're evolving and growing and changing all of the time. And so we can apply that to our brain retraining practice. It's not going to look like the same that it once did. So we can apply different methods. And like, you know, I love the fresh inspiration. Like, I hope that this allows, you know, someone, you know, a vital sighter on here listening to kind of have like sign that permission slip of, I can bring fresh inspiration to my practice, right? I can grow, I can evolve, because that's really what we do throughout our lives. So why not bring this information to our retraining practice? You know, this is so important.
Yeah. And as we grow and evolve, I think that's somewhere where people can get stuck as well, is like, oh, my priorities are very different now to when I started brain retraining, both personally and what I've seen with a lot of clients. And so it's kind of like this, like, well, who am I now? And do I want to go back to my old career, or do I want to do that thing anymore? Or do I want to hang out with these people? And there's a lot of questions when you have grown and changed so much that can make it kind of scary to reemerge, because it's like, well, who am I? What do I want? It's like that process kind of moves beyond that first tier that we were talking about before and starts to take it to that next level where it's like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm starting to emerge and go back to work, or maybe there's some kind of lifestyle change, or maybe you've got the basics down and you're going, okay, how can I personalize? Or there are some beliefs that have cropped up now that I've kind of unlocked the subconscious. There's some stuff coming up that seems to be stopping me from getting where I want to go in life, and maybe also in my healing. Like, how can I change and evolve with that? And what's that going to mean for me?
Yeah, that's a great point, is that this work that we're doing, you know, this work that you are doing at home today, this is work. Like, this is intensive work. And so you are unlocking that subconscious brain. So you may recognize like, oh, the more I brain retrain, the more I'm like thinking about, what am I going to do with my life? What's my purpose on this earth? Like, who am I? Like, having almost these existential thoughts.
Yeah.
And because we are questioning a lot of the beliefs that we have through this work. So you know, for those of you listening today, that is part of it. So if you're feeling that, like, that's okay, it's part of it. Bianca and I actually created the program Elevate Brain Retraining 2.0 to address a lot of these questions that you may be having, and just to even help you to start connecting with your purpose. You know, we're not telling you anything in particular you need to do. We're simply allowing you to kind of unlock your potential, unlock the purpose that you have. So if you want more information on that, check it out. I will link it on this video below. And just a reminder, this is video 1 of a 3-part series we're doing, going beyond the basics of brain retraining. And next week, we are diving into kind of a deeper understanding of your deeply rooted belief systems that may be coming up for you as well as you start this retraining work or as you continue it. So we will see you here next week. Please provide us some feedback. You know, we're doing this for you. So we're so happy to be here with you on this network, this private network, you know, speaking to brain retrainers. So we are so happy to provide you with this information, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thanks for joining. See you soon.